Hello there, peoples. Welcome back to 614 Punch, the show about the fighting game community in Columbus. I'm Felicia, aka Catgirl Princess, and I host the show with my friend Travis, aka Perfidious Sin. This is episode 4, our favorite fighting game songs, part 1. It features guest speakers Ola, Tony, aka TKShadowBlade, and Prince, aka Wombstone, as we talk about some of our favorite songs from fighting games. So hook up your headphones and set up your speakers, because your ears are about to get super comboed by some rad jams. Alright, so Ola, you didn't really get a chance to introduce yourself, like, truly last time, so why don't you go ahead, say who you are and what you play.
Like the Spanish word for hello. I played Smash a lot, like for the past 8 years, and then sort of transitioned to Street Fighter, and then find myself playing Tekken. Hopefully I stick with Tekken and don't switch around again, so that's me. A little Soul Calibur on the side as well.
Mm-hmm. We also have, with our first appearance on the show, we have ShadowBlade.
Just go ahead with the song? Or?
No, we're letting everybody introduce themselves, then we'll get into the songs. So, next on the show, we have a first-timer, ShadowBlade. How you doing? Hello?
Oh, I can't hear you. Here, let me type in the chat. There we go.
You there, dude? Whoops.
Sounds like he's writing something.
Oh, sorry, is it on me?
Yeah, I introduced.
Sorry about that. I had to step away for just a second, but okay. So we're doing intros. So,
who you are and what you play.
So I'm Tony. I also go by TKShadowBlade or just ShadowBlade if you want to keep it a little simpler. Main games, I'm a 3D fighter, so I rock Tekken, Soul Calibur, a little bit of Dead or Alive. I play Street Fighter here and there, but I kind of fell off with 5, but that's a whole nother can of worms.
All right, and then we also have Prince, aka Wombstone. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? I am doing great. I mainly play, I guess you could say Tekken is my main game right now. I am slowly learning Under Night. I have a long history with Street Fighter, King of Fighters, and Soul Calibur as well. But my big games right now are Tekken, and I'm trying to make Under Night a big game.
Mm-hmm. Especially with Climax of the Night coming soon.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the T-shirts for that?
And Evo.
Yeah, I need to buy that. I need to buy one of those. And yeah, Evo, it being at Evo is absolutely massive.
Mm-hmm.
Excited for that.
Whoa. What happened to Ola? He just disappeared.
He could
I just saw him drop out.
Back on there.
There he is.
There we
is.
go.
I was about to say, oh no, Thanos snapped his fingers. Sorry.
I mean, considering what could have happened, if we got snapped and we only lost one person, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
I guess.
The podcast will be fine.
Ola, is your microphone working, or do you need a second?
I think. All right, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So, all right, so we can probably
connection here at my uncle's house. So,
okay, so we'll.
All
right. I'll try to get this speeding along then, just so we can get things going. So today's episode of 614 Punch is, as I said in the post-recorded intro, all about our favorite fighting game tracks, because I think we can all agree, decent soundtrack, good game, great soundtrack, classic game. A soundtrack can make or break a good fighter. Wouldn't y'all agree?
Oh, yeah,
well,
Of course,
yeah.
of course.
There are games that I wouldn't play if it didn't have good music, basically.
Music is so important for games, honestly.
Yeah, especially for fighters, I think. So I asked everybody that's here on the show today to pick 2 songs that they think are cool, and I'll put them in post-recording so that you, the listener, can hear it. But we're just gonna have everybody play their songs, talk a bit about where it's from, why they picked it, etc., etc. And since Ola already shared his with us in our chat, Ola, why don't you go first?
Ooh, that was a 40 chess move.
First one was obviously, as you guys can see, Street Fighter V, Karen's OST theme. Go ahead and be redundancy with that introduction. I'm not sure how to really describe it. Like, if you're hearing it now, it's got a very upbeat sort of vibe to it that definitely fits the character. It sounds like it should be in like an anime or something. I mean,
Yeah.
It doesn't get me hyped up for like fighting or anything. It doesn't get me pumped up in the way that like some other songs would be. It's not like a final boss type of song, but I don't know. It's a kind of song that I could listen to over and over and over again. Like I wanted to post the 10-hour extended version because it's just like it's got that kind of feel where I could listen to it forever. And it's like that song almost takes you on a journey. Like if you listen to it, there's like a small sort of very faint sound that goes on that differs from the rest of the song that I think is like very captivating and part of the reason why it's one of the most memorable songs for me from that game. I mean, as far as Street Fighter goes, everyone knows the Guile song from Street Fighter V specifically. You know, the Rashido songs is also a banger. I'm a big fan of that one. And then from Street Fighter as a whole, Third Strike has a bunch of good songs, but as far as one that like I could keep coming back to and I feel like I'm worth saying is one of my favorites, definitely Karen's Theme.
All right, why don't we all play it for ourselves, listen to it, and then we'll discuss it. So, Ola, do you have any other thoughts or feelings you want to say to further elaborate now that we have all just heard the track?
I'm a sucker for trumpets. I've got a Spotify playlist called Trumpets and Brass, and
Nice.
this would definitely fit into it. So yeah.
Nice.
You know what I
It's
like
on
about
there.
this song is that Karine is actually an old Street Fighter character. She's from the Alpha series, but this song it's like brand new. It's not really. There's references to her old song, but it's actually just like, no, we're gonna like this character's coming back. We're gonna give her a brand new, fresh theme.
Yeah, the part after the refrain is actually a motif from her main theme from Alpha 3.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like it's directly lifted from there. It sounds exactly the same. It's pretty sweet. It is right after the refrain.
I can kind of hear that, to be perfectly honest, and like they do that with almost every single character in 5. Like they put in the ones that actually didn't even come in until 5, and they haven't been in the games for a few years, like since the Alpha series, like Armika's, for instance.
Yeah.
They'll put like a little piece of her original track in there.
I am a huge fan of that stuff. I think that motifs are amazing, not just for getting you to think about the music and remember it, but they get you to think about whatever game or movie they're featured in. Like whenever you have a motif, it's just like your chances of walking away from that game, movie, or whatever work it is and remembering that track and the moment it's played in is dramatically increased.
They do that a ton in the Persona games, which is a spoiler for my song coming up, but Persona will have they just have like one song that they remix 50,000 times for the whole soundtrack, and it's just like so cool that they keep using it over and over in a different way.
Actually, what Nintendo does for like all their songs.
Yeah.
They'll have one song, they'll speed it up, they'll slow it down, they'll remix it 1,000 times, and then you won't even realize like the GameCube theme is the.
I was just about to say that.
It's actually the Famicom theme sped up.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's crazy things they do.
Slow down at like 18 times speed, I believe.
That's
But yeah,
so cool.
getting back to Karen's theme. Yeah, I can see what you mean of it not sounding exactly like a fighting game track. It's got kind of a weird energy that like I think works enough. But I can also agree that it might fit a little bit better for like a boss fight. But I gotta say, horns are really big with the Street Fighter V soundtrack. Somebody there was a big fan of Tower of Power or something.
Another thing I was gonna say was that I really like the refrain in this track. It sounds upbeat. It's a very different song because if you played Alpha 3, Karen had kind of a rivalry with Sakura, and she was always getting bested by her. And in this game, she's a much better sport about it. So it's like, to me,
More refined almost.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that part a lot. And another thing too is that this track reminds me of how underrated 5's music is. I think Tekken's soundtrack is better overall, but this soundtrack is underrated. Like Fang's theme is great. And the beach themes, which we never get to hear anymore because they're stupidly banned even when
I forgot those stages existed. Oh my god, there was a beach stage.
Yeah.
And the music in those, if you like Karen's theme, the music in those stages is very similar and it's wonderful. I love them.
All right, so Ola, what's your other track that you have brought to us today?
So, if you played Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the stage Halbert, it was legal for a while, but it's long since been banned. Mennonite had a song called Mennonites Revenge. I've not played any of the Kirby's Dream Land series, like literally none of the games. But this song's a banger. It sounds like it should be a part of Cowboy Bebop, and I love it.
Nice.
Didn't they rip this one out of what was it? Kirby Superstar for the Super Nintendo?
Your guess is better than mine. Like I said, I've not played any Kirby games. I played Kirby Crystal Shards, and that's it. And I didn't think that game was that good. But
all right, we're gonna have a chat about Kirby Crystal Shards later.
All right. Well, for now, let's go ahead and play the track, and then we'll give our thoughts on it. Hit it.
All right.
Yeah, that is a banger. You know, the one thing that I think of every time that I hear that track, so I played in the front ensemble and marching band, so like the large keyboard instruments and whatnot that can't march. So we'd have like a marimba, xylophone, stuff like that, and we put cymbals on the side. We have what's called a China cymbal, like an inverted cymbal that we put like some pieces of metal called rivets in it to give it like a sound. And to me, every time I hear the beginning of that track, that first cymbal hit that before the melody starts, sounds exactly like one of the cymbals we had. I always thought that was kind of funny.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty sick.
Man, that song is great. That has like so many. I've always been a really big fan of Kirby games. Like I've played basically every Kirby game 10 times and know them front to back.
Oh, snap, I made you mad.
No, it's all good. But that particular track has so many like motifs from Kirby games that I've heard before. Like I was just like getting a nostalgia rush hearing all those old Kirby songs just mixed into this one track. That was really, really cool.
It definitely creates a unique vibe in the context of Smash because it has like that bit of swing to it, almost that Cowboy Bebop vibe that I think Ola, you said it had.
Yeah.
Like the Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, it definitely. Yeah, I think it's very much a song that'll make you want to keep moving. Like I don't know why, but something about it. Like I couldn't imagine that being used in Street Fighter, but I can imagine it being used in like Melee 4 or Ultimate. I guess because of the pacing.
Yeah, it fits the vibe of the game very well.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I really like about this, besides the brass, like Ola's right, the brass in this song sounds absolutely incredible. I could see the brass exclusive parts of the song definitely being in an anime like Bebop. But another thing that I like a lot is if you go to 16 seconds into the song in the link that Ola provided in the chat, you'll hear a part where there's a synth that is harmonizing with the guitar, and that's honestly my favorite part of the song. I wish there was more of it, but I also respect the fact that it's only there for 5 seconds at a time because it repeats all through the song.
Oh, yeah.
But I also appreciate that tease element of it. Like, you only get this much of this great harmony.
That exact sound actually reminds me of the same sound I was referring to in Kent's theme. It's like that same sort of sound. I'm not sure what instrument it is. I couldn't tell you. But it's like that same sort of sound that you're talking about at 16 seconds in. It reminds me of part of the Karen song, too. I feel like a lot of the songs I like sound similar.
Yeah, I feel you. It's definitely one of those things where you kind of feel like you have a type, you know? And
right.
I think that with that, a big reason why it sounds so unique and it sounds similar to the Karen track is that I think the one in Karen's theme is like a special kind of electronic organ they're using. And in this one, it's a synth and a guitar that are harmonizing like exact beats. I think that's what creates that unique sound that's so infectious.
Yeah, I think it's cool when they layer tracks like that.
Yeah, I think that track's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we move on to Travis. Travis, I'm assuming you have some other bangers for us.
Oh, yeah. So I should probably post those in the chat, huh?
Well, just post the link to the first one, and then we'll go from there.
Cool.
And then post the second when it's time for the second.
Okay. Do I talk about my song before we go into listening
talk
to it? Okay.
Like introduce it a little bit first, then we'll talk more about it after we play it.
Gotcha. So my first song is Princess Amagi from Persona 4 Arena, which was composed by Atsushi Kitajo and Shoji Meguro, who was like the longtime Persona composer. And it's a theme song of Yukiko Amagi, who is like one of my main characters in the game, and I'm a very big fan of it. And we'll talk about it after we listen.
All right, let's go.
Here I go.
Everybody clear to go? Okay, let me nerd out about this song real quick.
Go.
So in the game, in like the Persona anime, it's a video game first, but in the Persona game, Yukiko is like, she's a princess, but she also has like I mean, no, she's not a princess. She's like she runs a traditional Japanese inn, so she's like very polite and sweet, but she also has like, she's dealing with customers all day, so she also has like a really hard edge side. And I think that song, how it has like the traditional Japanese string instruments, and then it has a really heavy guitar, it really represents the parts of her personality. Like, she's nice and sweet, but she'll also whip your ass if you mess with her. It's like, I think just like thematically, the song is perfect at representing the character.
I think that's a good assessment. It's actually really huge with motifs and things like that. Visual ones, those are huge in the Persona series. And I'm also just a big fan of Shoji Meguro's work in general, because I also love the Shin Megami Tensei series.
Yeah, he always has those really like awesome hard guitars in all of his songs.
Yeah, and I will say, like, the part that starts at 33 seconds into the song is definitely my favorite. It sounds exactly like what you were talking about, like the dualistic nature of her personalities represented in the music. And it's just really good guitar music.
If Rock Band or Guitar Hero is still a thing, I would love to play the song in that game.
Oh, dude, yeah. I'm really glad you did this for another reason, because I've never played Arena, and I did not know that there was original music for that game. I thought it was all just Persona and SMT music, which would be sick.
Yes, there are songs from the Persona series, but there's actually a lot of original music that the composers of the Persona series put in for it. So
that makes me happy.
Killer energy. I was air drumming almost the whole time.
Yeah, really good drums too.
I was actually air drumming. I don't even play drums. I was air drumming to this. So yeah, I get you there. It's definitely felt more like a fighting game song than the ones I posted. So I could definitely see the hype from the song. Like if I was using it in a fighting game in essence and not just listening to it because I wanted to listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hear it in both. You can hear it in both Arena and Arena Ultimax and Cross Tag. So lots of places to hear it.
Oh yeah. The song came back because she's in Cross Tag too, but nobody plays her in that game because she's not that good.
Pick her stage.
You got anything else, Tony?
All right, so it's on me. Okay.
No. I meant, do you have any other thoughts on that song?
No. I'm good then. Sorry. I promise I'm paying attention.
No, you've been kind of quiet, so I just want to make sure you had a chance to say something and we weren't interrupting you.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess if everybody's good, what is your other song, Travis?
All right, I'll give you the next one in the chat here. This is Pick of the Litter from Skullgirls, which is the character select theme.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Nice.
I don't think you have to give any more of an introduction than that.
I just want to give the composer some shout outs. It was composed by...
You ever played Skullgirls? Let me know.
Composed by Britton Cossack and Blaine McGurty. So yeah, we can just check that out.
Go for it.
I'm listening to it now.
Okay, let me nerd out about this song real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is just like every time I hear this song, I just want to play Skullgirls. Like I can when you're picking your character, it's the character select theme. I probably said that, but when you're picking your character, like you actually have the characters animating, and it just looks like they're dancing to the song. So it's like, yeah, I'm ready to play. Like I'm excited to play Skullgirls right now, even though I haven't played it in years.
Oh, I
It's
love
just
that
like
stuff.
it's the perfect combination of just like relaxing music, but also it's so driving that it gets you hyped to play the game.
Yeah, the brisk drum beat is important there.
Yeah, I love tracks where like the drums or the percussion, the rhythm track in general, feels like it's moving twice as fast as the lead track.
It really does.
Probably a perfect example of that is I don't know how many of y'all play Transistor. Kind of ironic. Transistor is referenced in Skullgirls, but We All Become is like a perfect example of that to me, because it's just like a drum and bass beat over like a quiet club theme, which is cool.
Nice. Yeah. A thing I really like about this is just it fits neatly into the big jazz motif of Skullgirls. Like Skullgirls has jazz all over the place, which is something I loved about when I first played the game back in April 2012. It's actually 7 years now, as of a few weeks ago, that this game came out. Pretty cool. And the big things for me in this song are the piano line that starts at 32 seconds in. That gave me chills when I first heard it a long time ago. And it always makes me wonder, like, does this actually fit, does it actually fit a fighting game? Like, does a song fit a fighting game? And I ended up thinking that it does, because, like you guys mentioned, it's kind of low-key jazz music. If there was no percussion, you would think that this was music for, like, the lobby of a hotel room. But the brisk percussion really helps pump you up. And then another thing I like about it is the mellow bass line that's playing the entire time through. Just like the other instruments, it is really slow, but it sounds really nice, and it's heavily syncopated, and it mixes well with the drums.
I like how there's so many keys. Like there's a traditional piano, I think, an electric piano, and an organ.
Yeah.
In this song. There's so many keys.
Yeah, the organ flourishes before the piano line I mentioned. I always liked how they vary between the two verses too.
There's that sound that I had been geeking about in Karen's theme in the Mennonite game.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, it's like that same sound.
Yeah, it's the organ, I think.
I'm just a sucker for it. Yeah, the organ thing.
Yeah, the organ thing.
And I geeked out about it when it first started. So, like, I've heard about this a bunch because with PM 3.02, they used this song as, like, the character select screen as well. So, yeah, is also apparently the original devs of that game, massive Skullgirls fans, as you could imagine.
It's a good character select theme, for sure.
It is probably the best.
I don't know. I kind of think the best character select theme. Well, I really love the one from the Persona 4 Arena series. That remix of the Velvet Room theme. I like that one a lot.
You can't be Marvel 2, of course.
Guilty Gear Xrd also has a killer. But Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 has a killer character select theme.
The original X2 has the best one.
I gotta bump the character select themes from Capcom versus SNK 2. It fits the theme of that game perfectly, about just how the whole game revolves around just a big tournament. Yeah. And that theme is designed to get you hyped to see and play a fight. I love it, especially with the announcer talking over the track as you're picking your character.
This is the first dream event of the 21st century.
I love that. Yes, that's so good.
I mean, it's one of the reasons I always play the "I know that you'll be back" at the end of every episode. All right.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think Ola. I really regret not picking this. I love my two tracks, but I would say, given what we have learned about Ola's tastes from the tracks that he chose and his response to this one, I think he would like "Rhythmical Bustle" from Melty Blood. I love that track, and the brass in it is absolutely incredible.
I need to get y'all a couple Tower of Power records. I think that's we all gotta like listen to some Tower of Power together from our love of big band for big brass. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, like if you say you're a big fan of horn sections and you've never listened to Tower of Power, that's like saying you're a big fan of rock and roll rock drums and you've never listened to Led Zeppelin to hear John Bonham.
or like you're a fan of rock guitar but you've never listened to Led Zeppelin for Jimmy Page. That's like the group. But let's get back to fighting game soundtracks because that's what we're here for. Yeah, Tony, I think you've got a couple tracks for us. You want to share one of them to start off?
I do. And let me just lead this off by saying this is really, really hard for me because I love video game soundtracks and I especially love fighting game soundtracks. I could literally keep you guys here all night, really all week with this. So if I had to pick a couple, let me start off with this one. This one comes from the Tekken 5 soundtrack, Formless Like Water, the waterfall.
I know this one.
This is the very first track I heard from Tekken 5 when I got into it about 12 years ago. This is what actually got me started playing Tekken 5. The first piece of music I heard from the game when I first started playing it. It's stuck with me ever since.
Oh, nice.
All right, let's jump into it.
Let's get that booted up.
Right now.
I don't know. I love how light it is. It's how light, bouncy. There's just the rhythm, just the overall tone is just it's not like okay, like we're in the middle of like a heavy, intense fight. It's just let's just do our thing. Let's see where this goes. May the best man win. I kind of feel like it's a very Christy Montero track.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know who Christy Montero is, but okay.
She is the female Eddie.
She's girl. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tekken 4.
I should know that. I have a Tekken 4 player's guide on my shelf right now.
Yeah, that song is another example of a song where, like, you have, just like with the Skullgirls character select theme, you have really gentle, light music, and then you have this beat that is not necessarily, like, high BPM or high intensity, but it's just brisk enough to...
It keeps you moving.
Exactly, yeah. Just brisk enough to keep you want to... make you want to keep moving in the middle of the fight. And
so does that song play during a fight? It's like a stage music? Okay.
That's stage music. It's got a 4 on the floor house music beat that I like a whole lot. And I like the way the percussion kind of clacks every time there's a beat like doot doot doot. You can hear like the echo of the initial percussion strike. I like that a lot. I always like hearing that.
Like a reverb pedal almost. Like Walking on the Moon by the Police, how Stuart Copeland's drums sound there. Like every time he does like a clack on the snare drum, you kind of hear like that echo. Is that what it's talking about?
It's like a hard echo. If I were more musically inclined, I could probably describe it better. But it's like I would liken it to the sound, the technique in drumming where you kind of drop the stick and let it fall to get something of a light roll on the snare. Like you drop the drumstick.
Just like a buzz.
Yeah, I like that a lot. But it's more controlled because it's in a house beat.
You know, what I really like in that song are the vocals. It's just like
yeah,
the wordless wailing vocals. Really adds a lot to it.
Exactly.
The first one we've had with any vocals. So
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that.
I don't know who composed this, but that makes me think of Nier Automata, which
for sure.
Keiichi Okabe, the composer of Nier Automata, also composed most of Tekken 7's music. And if you've ever played Nier Automata, yeah, like isn't that crazy? Yeah,
I did not know that at all. That's interesting.
So if you listen to the fight with Adam and Eve in Nier Automata, it sounds like something that could be put in Tekken and no one would turn their head.
Dang.
Like, it's very clearly his work in both games, but he also has a lot of range because he makes tracks like The Tower and what's popularly known as Become as Gods, but I can't remember the real title for it. But yeah, I like that a lot. I like the vocals in there a lot. They do remind me a lot of the Automata vocals. I don't know if
there's definitely some Nier vocals in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. They sounded pretty far to me.
Like far away.
Like,
yeah, they do. That's right.
I just got that.
You say Nier vocals. To me, it's like I think of Nier vocals as like a different language vocals because a lot of the songs in the Nier series they use like a made up language for their vocals. Whereas this is sort of just like hitting one note, just saying like one continuous thing. The Nier songs will have like actual words that aren't actual words,
fake words. Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
Kind of like the band Mac.
That's what I was thinking of.
It just made me think
like
of
Simlish,
that. Yeah, it just made me think of that because the Nier vocals have a different language, but the singing sounds kind of similar to me. Like I was listening to The Tower the other day from Nier Automata. And there's parts in there that remind me of there's just the speed at which they sing, which is, very slow like this one. By the way, listen to The Tower. The vocal dynamic version, the last few seconds before the song ends, is some of the most powerful music I've ever heard. It's honestly incredible. The soundtrack is great, but that's probably the pinnacle of the soundtrack for me. But yeah, back to fighting game music. This track is great.
It is pretty good. Tony, do you have anything else you want to add, or you just want to move on to your next song?
I think we can move on to the next one, my second one. So,
what you got?
This piece from the Alpha 3 soundtrack. So I think that the Alpha 3 soundtrack is quite possibly the most underrated of any Street Fighter soundtrack in existence. It doesn't really get a whole lot of attention, doesn't get a whole lot of love, and it really should. Just because because you got your characters and they have their established themes that have been their themes and what they're known for the past almost 30 plus years, and you've got the themes in this game that I consider more their fight themes. Like, okay, so you've got the themes that they had that bring them into the arena. Now here's what they would sound like if they were actually fighting, at least at this point.
Okay,
I can get that.
Right.
Also, before we listen, though, I was going to ask, what do you think of EX3's soundtrack, and what have you seen of how people popularly perceive that soundtrack?
It's a weird. I can't remember. I think I tweeted something like, "The game is weird, but the music is good," or vice versa. I can't remember what I said. It definitely was a soundtrack that stood out to me when I played it.
Yeah, like one thing. There's a few tracks from that game that you hear a lot. I think the biggest one is Strange Sunset, which is Guile's other theme. I love Guile's theme from Street Fighter 2, but Strange Sunset is incredible.
Funny, I was going to suggest Precious Heart, Sakura's theme.
Oh yeah, that one's
because
good.
Maximilian uses that.
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's listen to The Road now before we get too distracted.
Okay.
Hit it. Can I just say that track like just gets started immediately? Like, oh my god, it just you get
Wastes
no time to breathe.
time.
One thing I gotta say I love about Capcom's 90s soundtracks, like even if the song itself isn't good, sonically, like they're very distinct. Like I don't know what the electronic tones they use, like what software, what samples they use, but like whatever sounds they were using at the time for the percussion, for the melodies, always really stands out to me, and it's one of the reasons I love going back to 90s soundtracks especially.
One thing that I was thinking about when I was listening to this is the fact that it blew my mind when I found this out, but Street Fighter Alpha 3's soundtrack was recorded on CPS2, the Capcom Play System 2.
That's right.
Yeah, like it was recorded on there, and this is the same cabinet where Super Turbo's soundtrack was recorded on, and it's like,
oh wow,
Really?
That blows my mind because the guitars, like if you listen to like Cammy's theme and then you listen to this theme, you can kind of hear they had the same thing going on, but the synth guitars in Ryu's theme in Alpha 3 are just so much crunchier and heavier. They hit so hard, and there's also these drum lines like Felicia was talking about the percussion. There's these drum rolls all throughout the track, and they're already like high BPM, and you just have the snares just rolling throughout the entire track.
Actually, I think the term you were meaning to say was a ghost note, where you play like just a really quiet note with a light tap. Like you hear it often in funk, where it's like, or like it spells like Teen Spirit, but it sounds like do do ka do do ka do do ka. I think that's what you were meaning. I think
I see what you're saying, but what's crazy, what gets me about this is that it's like it's very loud. Like it sounds kind of like a machine gun. Like it's like that every few seconds in the track, and that's what I like about this. That's what I like about the percussion.
And they use that piece of percussion in almost every single track on this OST for every single character. It's that distinct, almost like they're setting that tone for every character, for every stage throughout the entire game. They even use it in the character select theme. It's the specific tone that they're trying to set. Okay, let's get into this. Like let's just get right to it.
Yeah.
So that song.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Travis.
That song in particular, I do not think of Ryu when I hear that song at all. That song is way too hyped to be a Ryu theme for a guy.
Don't forget, this is a younger Ryu, so I think that's why it fits.
It kind of puts to mind, like, okay, so he's very insecure, he's very unsure of himself with his abilities, just with him being tempted by the Dark Hado as of this point. But even despite those insecurities, he's still gonna press on, and he's still gonna push himself. That's what I get from that, and that's kind of how I feel it still matches him.
This is the Ryu that gets noogied by Kin before they start fighting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I never played the Alpha game, so I don't know. I just know Ryu as a dude who like eats plain bread with a glass of water for lunch. So.
No explanation for how he's so jacked.
Right.
He's just spitting in the face of keto dieters. Just bread and water.
But yeah, it's like...
Well, there's a lot more to keto than just bread and water. I will tell you this. Keto pizza is one of the tastiest things you will ever eat.
What I mean is, like, keto guys, like, they're all about avoiding carbs. And it's
and Ryu only eats carbs.
I completely misheard the context, my bad. But
just
keto pizza is actually really delicious.
I would like to try that.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. If there's one thing I can really want to say, since we were talking about percussion, if one of the main reasons I really don't like to listen to modern rap and hip hop is I hate the percussion tones. And I think it's partially due to being a percussionist myself, and partially due to having sensitive hearing due to being autistic. But like, I hate the tones they use. They're too sharp a lot of the time, and there's never a lot of variety. The percussion
can agree with that.
The sounds they use here are great.
I love the percussion in rap music. I'm a big fan. I wish I could listen to more rap music with more percussion.
Well, let me put it this way. If we're talking like 90s, like the sounds they used in the 90s or what they were sampling at that point, like early Jurassic 5, Diggable Planets, why am I forgetting? Public Enemy, like those sounds are awesome, but like tracks you're hearing on the radio right now, like
that's your problem. You're reading off the radio. That's a terrible decision. There's much better rap out there than what's on the radio.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But when I worked at Chipotle, all people played was what was on the radio. Ugh.
Yeah, you'll just have to get out there. I would say listen to stuff like The Roots. The Roots actually has a really
yeah, bro. I love the Roots, dude.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think we talked about that before.
I spent a whole semester listening to nothing but D'Angelo's Brown Sugar and Voodoo records because of Questlove.
Oh, nice.
Even though he only plays on Voodoo.
Oh, yeah. Any of Chance the Rapper?
Oh, Chance
is acid rap specifically.
Oh yeah. I hear a lot of people say good stuff about him.
Try Brockhampton too. They're great.
All right, send me a couple tracks. I'll check them out.
Yeah, back to this song in particular though. Even though it doesn't strike me as very Ryu-ish, I just I love the energy of the song. I love how intense and frenetic. It's the drums are kind of frenetic. They're kind of not. I mean, they're on beat, but they're just so hyper that it's that's why it didn't really strike me as a Ryu song. But that would be very, very good hype music for a fighting game for sure.
Yeah, or for a party.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that would bang at a 90s house party.
God, next time a party is at Keith's place, that would be a great idea.
We just play that song.
Alpha 3 bangers all day.
Yeah.
Would you see that video from where those three guys in their jerseys are dancing in a circle? That'll be us, but in real life.
Yeah. All right.
Did Ola get to talk about that track? Or did you say anything?
I mean, I don't have a lot to say that wasn't already said. It does sound like a very 90s track. It's surprising. I wouldn't have imagined it was a Ryu song. That definitely caught me off guard. But I mean, I don't have much else to say about it, to be quite honest. I'm not musically inclined enough to talk about it too much. I have a little musical experience, but what am I going to say?
I feel you.
Hey everybody, this is Felicia again. So at this point when we were recording, Discord's voice servers crashed, so we had to stop the recording and then come back to it later. However, when I realized that the episode was already almost an hour in length, everybody decided that it'd be best to make this episode on our favorite fighting game songs a two-parter. So join us next time to hear the songs that Prince and I brought to the table. But until then, I just want to say thank you for listening. 614 Punch is a Patreon-supported podcast. Support the podcast to hear episodes early, get a shout-out, or potentially even be on an episode. But until then, this has been Felicia saying thank you for listening, and I'll see you at the next round.